This is a PowerWorks podcast short with Glenn Power and me, James Piecowye. There's going to come a point when if we continue with our battery technology where we're going to run out of affordable minerals that make these batteries.
Well, no, quicker than oil as well. Quicker
like
than we're going to run out of oil.
Yeah, it's a big. And
then
challenge.
what do we do with the old batteries?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I am not seeing any coherent recycling system. At least it's not jumping out at me.
Look, we've in the last 3 weeks of October, just over 3 weeks, we've had 2 hybrids with batteries dead that won't start. That are screwed.
So what do you do then?
Well, they need a new hybrid battery, and it's like 70,000 dirhams for one of them.
So you're
and not available because of nothing's available these days, right?
Man, so what that person do? They start crying.
Well, they've got 100,000 dirham car, and the one that I'm speaking of in particular is a Panamera hybrid, and this is my friend's vehicle that he's bought for his. He owns a car showroom, and they bought it from somebody on a part exchange. Had it in the workshop. It's a plug-in hybrid, so unless it has hybrid power, you can't start the car. It won't charge itself just on internal combustion.
Done.
Screwed.
This is a big problem.
Yeah.
This is a huge problem, and because
you got stung in Florida, right?
Exactly the same thing. I mean, that's what happened. It just stopped.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there was someone who could come and rescue us.
Eventually,
we were in the Keys,
but still,
we were in the north of the Keys on a back road,
eaten by alligators because your hybrid car.
No, the guy who pulled us out. You remember the guy, Bubba? I don't remember his name, but he might as well have been Bubba.
Yeah.
A redneck guy, clearly, because he was giving me the ones up and over because of the shirt I was wearing. It's like, dude. He said, you guys are really lucky because last week we were pulling someone off the shoulder here, and there was a giant snake.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I think, especially the fact that you were in America at the time, you should have gotten bitten by this anaconda and then sued Toyota because it's their fault.
Exactly.
The Prius is their idea and it's their fault.
Oh man.
This
is a huge issue that it's happening to people and that's an expensive car.
Look, this isn't a big work. I haven't got a big garage. We see maybe between the 2 sites. Obviously, we will fix it, throw the numbers off a little bit, but we might see, let's say, 50 cars a week, 50 individual cars a week.
Yeah.
In that 3-week period of seeing 150 cars, 2 of them have been hybrids with a battery problem.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we only see cars with issues, but there's not that many hybrids.
Yeah.
And there's 1,000 garages, so how many other people are seeing one?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing about the hydrogen. And again, it's easy to sort of sit here saying, I told you so, when we haven't even actually got proof that it's going to catch on yet. But the actual way that the hydrogen is combusted, not only does it not give any carbon out whatsoever, not only does it give pure water out the back, it purifies the air that's burning, that's being used in the combustion process.
Yeah. And look, the joker who's saying, well, what about the water coming back? You can put a collection system on it.
There's water coming out your car anyway, my friend.
Yeah.
There's condensation coming out your exhaust.
All the time.
All sorts of things coming out your exhaust.
A little collection system, built into the back. Then you got some great drinking water.
It's just like...
It's not like 20 gallons is coming out.
I know. What do they think it's going to be like? The guys down the beach with the jetpacks off the jet ski. Like, what's going on? But it's the future. Nothing has to change.
No.
The petrol station becomes a hydrogen station.
Yeah.
You just put a different tank in. You don't have to run copper cables. You don't have to put charging stations everywhere. Now, when you go to the shopping mall, I remember, so I think it's stopped now, but DEWA initially here did a great initiative where all electric vehicles were free to charge in public places, weren't they?
I think that's
all
stopped.
The shopping malls, anywhere on the side of the road. I think it's stopped now.
Yeah, I think so.
Still very cheap. But, but it was a great initiative. But you'd see them. The spaces were painted green. They had the charger there. No one ever parked in them, right? Now they're all full, and every other car in the actual normal car parking is an EV.
Yeah. There's not
so
enough
many of
charging
them around.
stations.
So many of them around.
Just in my neighborhood in the morning. And you really notice the EVs at night or very early in the morning when it's dark because you see the lights on the chargers.
Yeah.
And I mean there's half a dozen
on
my block.
But you've got a problem here because this is a city and
Right.
it's a very, very densely populated city in areas. You take somewhere like Dubai Marina, something that everybody
you're
around
done
the
for.
world has seen a photograph of. How do you charge all the electric vehicles in a 5-6 story basement car park?
Yeah. No, you've got to be running charger cables.
You just can't do it, right?
Yeah.
The investment required for that. Now, I'm not saying EVs don't have a place. I think they do. I like driving them. They are growing on me massively, but I just think hydrogen's such a better option right now.
Yeah, I think it's kind of jumping. We almost need to make that jump, that technology jump. And EVs are sexy and they're convenient and everyone's jumped on the wagon. But hey, let's think long term. And look, I keep coming back to it. I say, look, an EV in Finland, an EV in Sweden makes total sense. Maybe even an EV in parts of Canada makes great sense. Not in Saskatchewan because a lot of coal energy used there. But you pick out Ontario, Quebec, places where they're using nuclear, places
Cleaner
where they're
energy,
using hydroelectricity, and that's where Sweden and Finland were. So much hydro out there.
Yeah,
it's clean, and so I love EVs. But if it's dirty energy making them, then I have an issue because you're putting the carbon out onto another point of the chain of.
But you can't if you the simple way, and most people listening to this, I would guess, have some kind of interest in cars.
Yeah.
But if you've ever owned a car and thought about putting a big stereo and a big set of speakers in it, one of the things you'll probably have noticed when you did that is you had to put a big thick cable from the battery to your stereo because it was drawing so much current for the speakers.
Yeah.
Now, that's just for a 45 watt output.
Yeah.
Think about these chargers and how much power they take for these batteries, and then think about, well, I might have a building that's got 200 of them in. How much cable do you need for that?
Well, and just think of the upscaling of your input. Upscaling
you've got to dig the road up to put the cables under it. That's done with heavy equipment, manpower, closing roads, which put detours in, which mean that people are driving further. So therefore, there's extra carbon created because of the extra driving that people are doing to go around these roadworks. These aren't 2 and 3 hour operations either. You've got to just switch the grid onto a different. It just doesn't make any sense to think that we can swap everybody to an electric vehicle. I know I'm not saying everybody ever thought that's in the position of, a CEO of a vehicle manufacturer, but the way it's perceived by a lot of people is that everyone will have an electric car, and it's really not feasible or viable. And in a time where, people are making personal cuts to their own budget, money they can spend on themselves and their children and their families, it makes zero sense to me to spend a lot of money on infrastructure that's not needed, when if we go hydrogen, you just change the tank at the petrol station. I mean, I'm simplifying it a little bit, but the tank, the hoses and the actual nozzle, and the refill time is the same as filling your tank with petrol. So who it's just such
it's a head scratcher.
Yeah, it's taken, but again,
well,
people saw an opportunity to make money from lithium, and everything else went that way. Now, Elon Musk taking over Twitter, he might get bored of cars now.